welcome to the C-Suite Edge podcast. I'm your host, John Light. I'm also co-founder and CEO of Sabretooth Recruiting. And today I have Josh Rodriguez. And Josh comes to us from, I guess what I would call it is a community credit union. I guess would be the best way to put it is West Community Credit Union. And I wanted to have you on, Josh. I got to tell you, because I think there's a lot to be said for customer service and getting to know your customers in a way that big banks and large credit unions, even big financial institutions, just don't do anymore unless you're throwing lots of money at them. So thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, John, delighted to be here with you. Excited to have this conversation. I know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, so why don't we start with this? Because you and I have spoken before. I know a little bit about your background and your history, but why don't you bring audience up to speed relative to your journey, your path? Maybe give us a quick 90-second overview before we press on into other topics.
Sure. So I've been in the credit union industry just over 20 years, like 23 or 24 years. The bulk of that, or 11 of those years, was as the president and CEO of Missouri Valley Federal Credit Union, which is about a $50 million credit union just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Previous to that, I spent time in just about every department at a small credit union, and then worked at a medium-sized one before that. Just got a lot of exposure. You know, small companies or small financial institutions, you get the opportunity to wear a lot of hats, and you get to learn a lot. So we could talk for another hour about my journey there, but long story short, I ended up taking the CEO position in 2012, and that was a huge leap for me. And it turned out really well. We did a lot of great things there, but you know, all good things must come to an end, and we came down to about my 9th or 10th year as CEO there and started to see the handwriting on the wall. We won't go into all those details, but it ended up being a merger with a larger credit union, which is where I'm now employed, West Community Credit Union. Fantastic, community financial institution, about $500 million in assets in the St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri markets. So my current position is Assistant Vice President of FinTech and Mission Integration. So I oversee our FinTech relationships and the mission integration part, which is a little bit of I always see a little bit of question in people's eyes when I say that originally, so I have to explain. But the number one responsibility there is I'm the host of Banking on You, which is a podcast which debuted earlier this year. We get to tell member stories and interact with different people in the community. There's a lot of exciting things coming up there. And also we do some internal audio and video production for training and for onboarding, different things like that. So there's a lot of varied parts of my position, but it's a lot of fun, and I work for a great credit union.
So let me ask you this. If somebody wanted to listen to member stories, which I think is important, where would they find Banking on You? Is it just on your site, or do you have it out in Spotify? I mean, where do y'all plant that thing?
Yeah, so you can find us on bankingonyoupodcast.com. That's our website, kind of a branch off of our main website. But you can get us on Apple Podcasts, you can get us on Spotify, and a lot of the other podcast hosts as well. But those are the two major ones. You can follow us, of course, on LinkedIn. Always posting information there as much as possible. But Apple Podcasts and Spotify are definitely there.
No, I like that. And I like the fact that it makes business what it really is, what it should be. It's personal. You know, it always drove me nuts. You go watch The Godfather. It's not business, or it's not personal. It's just business. Yeah. All business is personal because we deal person to person, right?
Well, exactly right. Right. I've never seen a business, start a relationship with another business. It's always the people that are involved, right? I've never seen West Community sign a contract. It's always the president or one of the responsible persons. So it's always, you're right. It's always personal. And telling stories is something that we love to do, and everybody likes a great story, right? Everybody enjoys hearing about somebody that overcomes the odds and or fights back from the edge, or hits rock bottom and is able to come back, or just feel good stories about things that are done in our community. Our community efforts, and we work with a lot of different nonprofit organizations, hundreds over the years, and so we try to work that into our storytelling as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. When you look across the landscape there at West Community Credit Union, what would you say the biggest problem you solve for your customers is?
Our biggest the biggest challenge that our members have is finding an institution that cares about them rather than their dollar, rather than their money. And you mentioned just a few moments ago, there has never been more opportunity or options when it comes to financial services. We've always had the big banks, they're around and they have a function, of course, maybe in the commercial landscape, those types of things. And there's always been community banks, there's been credit unions for many, many years now. But even in the last, let's say, 25 to 30 years, we have all of these other options that are coming up. These small fintech companies or these smaller banks that are only online, and they operate as banks, but they're maybe not traditional banks. So there's a lot of options out there. Even when it comes to having your money on a Starbucks app, right? A Starbucks gift card. There was some numbers that came out about the billions of dollars that are actually sitting on Starbucks apps, because that's where people spend their money, right? And so when you think about it in that way, if that money is sitting on an app or in a membership site or something like that, it's not in an institution. It's not in a bank. It's not in a credit union. So there's a lot of options out there, and everybody's involved in these new ways, these neobanks, this new way of banking. But all of these things kind of strip the humanity out of banking. It takes a customer and makes them just a balance in an account, just a balance or a number on a balance sheet. And so the challenge for credit unions, and because we are people focused, our philosophy is people helping people. Not businesses helping people or businesses helping businesses. Our focus is people helping people. So our challenge is to keep up with the advances, to create partnerships with these financial technology companies, but very much keep the personal and people-based side into it. My CEO likes to mention and has built what he likes to call our culture of care at West Community, and it really boils down to, we care about our members. We care about their financial well-being. We care about their lives. We care about helping them. And so we can take that extra step. We don't just care about the money they have with us. We take a step beyond that. It's not just about their money, their dollars and cents. It's about truly helping people get from wherever they are to wherever they'd like to be financially. And that's where we fit into the whole equation.
I like that. I like the idea that you have this culture of care. And I know you shared a pretty amazing story with me, helping a family out that had gone through loss. And it's something that if they were walking into a big brand name bank, wouldn't have happened.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't happen. It would have to be a credit union or a community bank of some kind. And unfortunately, a lot of those people who were in those crunches, and it may, like I said, in this particular case, it was because of a family tragedy, but they feel pushed or herded to, let's just say, less than savory options. Hard money lenders and things of that nature, which fulfill a purpose in society and business, right? But man, if you're down on your luck because you've had a death or you've had something of that nature going on, that's not where you want those folks to be. And
right, no, exactly. And some of those, title lenders, payday lenders, these type of predatory lenders, as we call them in the industry, they go after those that are in the deepest trouble, right? They're on a fixed income. Let me just give you an example. Years ago, we had a member of our credit union, they were with Missouri Valley at the time, still with West Community. They lived in a trailer north of our location, which is in a little more of a rural area. It's not really suburbia any longer, and they had some medical problems over time, and the credit wasn't the best. But they'd always have these small issues that would come up, just like everybody does. The air conditioner went out, and it was a wall unit, but it was like a $600 replacement. Washer goes out, $300 or $400, and for many people, you have access either through your savings, or you have a credit card. You can get access to credit in many different ways, or you can just pay cash for it, whatever. But for them, these were big items.
Yeah.
This was a big deal. They needed money, and they needed it now. And so, like you said, yes, oftentimes people like that would run directly to a payday lender and get a loan very quickly. Oftentimes you don't even have to go in. You can do this online.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you, or what they do tell you, but kind of hide this detail is sometimes you get 4, 5, and 600% interest.
Yeah, on an APR. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
brutal.
Just crazy. So what we did for this family in particular is we wanted to become their lender of choice. We knew that they were having financial troubles and issues that would come up occasionally. And so once I started seeing these loan applications come in, and they paid us 100% of the time on time, every time.
Yeah.
They didn't make all the different check marks, all the check boxes. They weren't perfect with everyone else, but with us they were. So I instructed my loan officers at the time, anytime this family comes in, you approve them for what they need. Now, not something crazy, but if they come in and they have a need, you just approve them, get them a check so they can go on with their lives. And that was just an understanding that I had as a CEO between me and the loan department. And every time they came in, yes, we gave them what they needed, and it wasn't an exorbitant amount. They weren't trying to fund a vacation to Tahiti or anything like that. But we met the need, and they came back time and time again and paid us back every single time. Now, they might have been behind on other bills. I don't know. But I didn't care. They were paying us, and so we were going to help them out whenever possible. So, yeah, you're not going to get that at a large institution. You're not going to get that from a bank.
That doesn't happen through a UI, huh?
No.
It's some user interface at an ATM or online.
No, it's a face-to-face transaction. It's an in-person transaction. That's where the sweet spot is.
And I really think that piece of it where, it's person to person, face to face, we're shaking hands or we're doing whatever. I really think the value that we have in that has been, I think we've undervalued it as a society for a long time now. But I think that as AI continues to promulgate and get out there in the marketplace, I think it's the value of that human connection, that interaction is going to do nothing but increase. I think it'll be different than it was before. I think it'll be more, I guess from a business perspective, we'd say it's more democratized, if that makes sense. Because you'll always have your big players, your Amazons and your Apples and your B of A's. You just go right through the list, right? These huge companies. We're going to have, I think, more personal brands, more individual contributors to our economy. Because you have the right bots, you have the right AI tools, you can accomplish all kinds of things, but you can probably do 70 or 80% of it. The rest of it comes down to that person-to-person piece. And I think the idea of caring and having empathy is going to come back into fashion, if I can put it that way.
No, that's a good way of saying it. Therein lies the challenge, because we don't have the ability to just, pass over these tools, right? AI, mobile tools, these increased of, these different technologies that are just coming up like crazy all over the place. People still want the convenience of all of these tools. And AI can build an enormous amount of efficiency into what we do every day. So the challenge for institutions is to keep up to date with the new technologies that are coming out, the new tools with AI, whatever the next thing is after that, but to maintain that personal touch. To keep the humanity in what we're doing, because it's really easy to kind of just slide off the other side and say, yeah, we're closing all of our branches, we're going, and there's been credit unions that have tried this, some successful, some not so much so, but we're just going to send everybody to automated applications, all those types of things, and they all have their place. But as the pendulum of society swings the other direction, and because we're humans and built for human interaction and long for human interaction, we're going to desire that more, and it's so much more important that as we debut these tools, we build into them the humanity of a human connection. I think it's vital, not just for business, but for us as individuals. We don't just want to be an AI avatar, right?
Yeah.
On either side,
it's vital for society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let me ask, speaking of human interaction, Josh, if somebody wanted to learn more about the philosophy, the culture of care, West Community Credit Union, what's the best way for folks to find and engage with you?
Yeah, so our website, westcommunitycreditunion.org, is the best place for that. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can look up Josh Rodriguez, or you can look up either one of our brands. We didn't mention this earlier, but we've got the West Community brand, which is in the St. Louis area, and then we have Tigers Community Credit Union, which is in Columbia, Missouri. And so either one of those, you can find out more about the credit union. Follow us on all the things, like my social media manager likes to say. We're always out there posting things, and definitely check out the podcast. It's a lot of fun. I'd love to have you hear that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Josh, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks, John. It's been great.